All right, thanks for joining us. This is a somber day, another somber day for the MTA. It's with a heavy heart that Tony Utano and I are here again in the aftermath of vicious attacks on New Yorkers in the subway system. There were, as you probably know by now, 5 serious incidents this morning, at least 4 of which occurred on the Lexington Avenue line where customers were slashed and robbed. The first of which happened right here at Union Square around 4:30 a.m. this morning. This is in addition to multiple attacks yesterday in the system that occurred within just hours of each other. Our customers and our employees cannot tolerate this level of violence in our system, especially as riders return. We're carrying 2.2 million customers on subways, a pandemic high. And over 1 million customers on buses, and those numbers are growing. That is good news. We're also going to be restoring here at Union Square and throughout the whole subway system 24-hour 7 service, which is great news for New Yorkers, beginning on Monday, May 17th. We've been loud and clear about what we need, pressing the mayor and the city for months for additional resources, full-time uniformed police officers, and mental health resources in the subways. City Hall cannot continue to bury its head in the sand any longer, to keep ignoring the reality of what our customers and employees face every day across the system, especially at such a critical time in the city's recovery. Frankly, ignoring that is irresponsible. It's a very special moment in the city's history as the city begins to recover from the pandemic. And it's critical that those not riding transit, including New Yorkers and tourists, have confidence in the system that we're providing a safe and secure environment. We need an immediate injection of police officers on platforms and on subway cars to deter attacks like the ones that New Yorkers experienced this morning, and to protect our customers and employees. It's equally as important, as we said throughout, that mental health resources are provided as well to better support vulnerable people experiencing homelessness and mental health crises in their lives. New York's most vulnerable people deserve better. And as a transit agency, we don't have the resources or expertise to provide the services that emotionally disturbed New Yorkers need. People need to feel safe while riding the subways, buses, and commuter rails of the MTA, period, full stop. Or else they won't come back to transit, which will depress and hinder the region's economic recovery from this grueling pandemic. To be clear, this is not a comment on the NYPD, who we thank both leadership and rank and file police officers for their service. This issue lands squarely on the steps of City Hall. The mayor must listen to what New Yorkers want and what they're telling us. 75% of respondents to our latest survey, 75% of customers riding subways and buses now say that their most immediate and first order priority concern is crime and harassment in the subways. And more than 3/4 of those surveyed say they feel assured when they see uniformed police officers in the subway system, on a platform, on a subway car. We can't, and clearly the TWU, our employees, represented by Tony Utano, who I'll turn to in just a minute, feel the same way. We can't keep standing by as these incidents occur over and over again to our customers and employees. And we can't pretend that they're anomalies when we know differently. We need real action, immediate action, and meaningful support from our city partners. We need to work together for the safety of all New Yorkers, MTA customers, and employees. We can't let this happen. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Tony Utano, president of Local 100. Tony.
Thank you. Pat. So just what I've been saying all along, and it's sad that I have to stand here again, but now it's happening. It's not only my members that are getting attacked, it's the public that's getting attacked. And here you have a mayor, since last Sunday, there's been 15 instances of assaults with razors and knives and people getting slashed. And he's standing in front of the hamburger place saying, hey, get a hamburger, and making videos thinking this is a big joke. This is our families that are riding the subway. This is my members that are operating that subway. We need the police. We need the police presence. We need them there. We need visible in uniform. So these accidents that occur, it's really not anymore about the crime, the criminal, the victim. This is all about the Blasio doesn't want to step up and do the right thing. Well, you know what? He's got blood on his hands. Because these people, my members, come to my office and I see him. I should send them to his office to see what they're going through. They're going through hell, and it ain't right. New Yorkers, we all deserve better. We deserve to get on that subway and go where we need to go safely. We're going through a pandemic. It's still here. My members have gone through a lot, and now are still going through a lot. And I don't know, I really don't know what to tell this mayor, but I do have one thing that I like to say to him, and this is coming from me and TW and my members. Why don't you just resign? Why don't you just give up your job? You don't care, obviously. You got 6 more months to go, right? And you don't care. So give it to somebody who cares and is going to do the right thing. Thank you.
Question. Hang on. Here's the microphone. You got the microphone.
Yeah, sure. Oh, Juliet can go first.
Yes, Chairman Floyd, where are the MTA police? Where, the MTA police? Is this working? Yeah, okay. How many are on the stations, and on the platforms? How many are on the stations and the platforms, and how many are out there, and how many are you hiring?
So, good question. So let me start with this. The primary responsibility for policing the subways is the Transit Bureau of the NYPD. 100 MTA police officers have been added to the subway system, despite the fact that they're primarily responsible for policing Long Island Railroad and Metro North. We're going to continue that MTA police presence. Obviously, given the relative size of the NYPD, 35,000 officers, a number like that, but we'll continue surging 100 MTA police into the system. We are. We've got a class starting next month, over 100 additional MTA officers.
Penn Station, Atlantic, and perhaps at 42nd Street. But this is one of the biggest transit operating systems. $50 million went to hiring them 500 officers. And if you took a survey of people in the subway, they would say they don't see MTA police.
Well, look, the NYPD is orders of magnitude larger than the MTA police. The NYPD is responsible by virtue of agreement between the City of New York and the MTA going back to 1995. And the primary responsibility for policing the subways is on the part of the NYPD.
I'm wondering, we hear from the MTA police chief only at the board meeting. If this is a concerted effort to get police involved, why not bring the chief of MTA police here and talk about the issues that are going on as well?
Well, look, we bring Chief O'Reilly from the Transit Bureau to board meetings. We bring Chief McGran, the head of the MTA Police, and this is primarily a responsibility of the NYPD. But having said that, we've added 100 MTA police officers to the system. Dan.
Thank you, and I have a question, one for each. One question each for the chairman and the president of the Transit Workers Union. over the year, between the NYPD and the MTA Police, you've added hundreds of officers to the system. If you're making the case you need even more, can you cite specifically a train station, a train line, a time of day where the additional officers made a difference in the level of crime in the subway system? Where has it worked now, and why would more be even better?
Well, look, Dan, we're not asking for a police officer for every subway car. There are 6,000 subway cars. These crimes, I've been informed, the horrific crimes that occurred today, and fortunately no one is in danger of losing their life, we are advised, are crimes of opportunity. And had there been a police officer on the scene or in the vicinity, it is likely that these crimes would have been averted. It's a big subway system that Tony's members work on, and we need additional full-time uniformed police officers together with mental health resources to address this ongoing crisis.
And a question for Mr. Utano. I like to talk to transit workers, keep my finger on the pulse of what they're experiencing. They don't have a lot of confidence that the NYPD officers will be there when they call and they say NYPD is en route, that they're going to be there and help them out. So my question is for you, one, what do your members tell you about the way they interact with the NYPD today? And what's your message to the NYPD on what they need to do so that your workers, who you represent, feel confident that when they call, they'll get a response?
So my members tell me exactly what you said, that when they call, it's not a quick response. That's one of the reasons that we're standing here. We need more police in the system. We need police to be visible. We need the police strategically placed. We don't need six police officers or 10 police officers around the turnstile. We need them on the platform. We need them where the train operator is, where the conductor is, where these situations are happening. We not only need them in the trains, we need them in the buses, okay? Yesterday, we had about 60 of our members up in the Bronx going onto the buses and handing out literature and educating the public on what's going on here. Okay, we pay our taxes too. We're transit workers, we pay our taxes, we deserve protection. And the mayor is in charge of the NYPD. He could easily tell them, get down there, and this is outrageous what's going on here. So we need them down there.
Hi, thank you. First question, now Tony's alluded to the mental illness aspect of individuals in the system. My question for Pat is, where's the conversation at with the city in terms of what the policy should be for homeless people in the system, which as of the 17th, they could stay in and just not come out entirely. So where is that conversation and what do you want that policy to be? And then my question for Tony is, how big of a problem is this in the equation? We're talking about a lot of cops responding, but you've also noted that mental illness is an aspect. I wonder if you can quantify it for us.
Look, let me go first. Clearly, the pandemic has had an effect on many New Yorkers, and emotionally disturbed people have been affected greatly by the pandemic. The MTA Chief Safety Officer, Pat Warren, has regular calls with Commissioner Banks and with BRC, which is a provider hired by the city for homeless and other issues. I join those calls frequently. It is clear, all agree, that additional police officers, full-time uniformed police officers, and mental health resources would play a significant role in addressing the vulnerabilities of emotionally disturbed people in the system, and in many cases would be able to avert the terrible crimes that were committed this morning. Tony.
So I've been talking about this over and over again, and this is the problem. We know that there's a homeless problem. We can't just take the homeless out of the subway and put them in the street, because they're going to end up back in the subway. So this is what I feel that should happen. The shelter should really be seriously looked at, because when somebody has a problem and they okay with sleeping in the subway and not in the shelter, that means there's a problem in that shelter, right? There's probably more crime going on in the shelter than there is in the subway. So you need doctors, you need social workers, you need people that can talk to these people to try and help them so they can move on with life and not just lay in the streets. And that seems to be a problem. The shelter and the resources to that shelter have to be put back so these people could get help.
You talk about the city's had 500 cops, want another 500. What makes you think 500 is enough? Why not 1,000 or 2,000? 500 come from?
So Peter, if I got the question right, here's our ask. Our ask is for an additional 600 to 800 additional police officers. The reason it's 600 to 800 and not a specific number is we don't have clarity as to the number of officers that remain in the system after 644 were surged into the system in February after the incidents on the A train. And we're grateful to Commissioner Shea for having done that. The commissioner, in addition to that, has committed to 80 transit police officers coming out of the new class from the academy, and it would appear 20 to 40 auxiliary officers at the 20 busiest stations. We believe that an additional 600 to 800 police officers, again, it depends on the number in the system on any given day, and we don't have visibility into that, would make a marked difference in averting the crimes. But it's that the system experienced today and that New Yorkers were put through, together with mental health resources, because many of the people engaged in these attacks appear to be emotionally disturbed. Peter, that is the estimate that we have come with. Unfortunately, the city's declined to meet that number. And if an additional 600 to 800 officers and mental health resources were put into the system, we can all look, including our customers and employees, as to whether that is sufficient. That's on top of the 100 MTA police officers that are in the subway system every day. Danielle.
Hey, Pat. The MTA statement today made reference to mayoral candidate statements on police presence in the subway. I think you got a lot of blowback from both City Hall and Reinvent Albany for that, because it could be seen as an endorsement. Do you think it's appropriate for to be making its case by weighing in on the mayoral race?
Look, Danielle, this is about customers and employees. We survey our customers regularly. The latest survey says that of those riding transit, crime and harassment is their #1 concern. A week ago, yesterday, Tony Utano and I were outside Jamaica Hospital after visiting one of his employees who suffered a horrific injury in a slashing incident. This isn't about the MTA, it's about our customers and our employees. And clearly, given the string of slashing incidents this morning on the Lexington Avenue line, the city needs to do more in terms of police officers and mental health resources immediately.
Hey, so you're opening back up 24/7 on Monday. What is the plan for when it gets to be, when people want to stay on the trains? Like, what are you guys going to be doing differently?
Well, look, people will not have to leave the system. There are, because of the closure no longer being in effect, but there are rules in place that you can be in the system only to be transported. You can't just linger in the system. That's a rule that was put in place. We're going to be enforcing that. We are confident that we're going to be able to continue to disinfect the stations and the subway cars. We've become more efficient at that, and we will deploy resources as necessary. We're incredibly excited about moving back to 24/7, especially since the governor has lifted strictures that were imposed during the height of the pandemic. 24/7 is something we're really excited about.
Just one more question about the work you guys do. You said you listened on phone calls. What kind of help are they offering? In what capacity do you guys work together to deal with the issue of, people who need to stop sleeping on subways?
Yeah, look, the BRC is under contract to the city of New York. They have reported, Commissioner Banks has reported that 800 homeless New Yorkers have been placed in shelter. That is good news. It's unclear how many of those individuals continue in shelter, but clearly more has to be done, and the focus has to be on emotionally disturbed people who are perpetrating the terrible incidents that that the system experienced this morning, and the attacks on Tony Utano's workers, including Mr. Sykes, who was hospitalized at Jamaica Hospital. Thank you.